Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tony Pomps podcast. And today, I got a special guest. Here he is, Pittsburgh Bobby himself, Robert Ardolino. How you doing, Bob?
I'm good, Tony. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm telling you, man, I was looking forward to this day because I know you got some great stories, man.
I do. I have a lot of them, And I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? So
Yeah.
Most people from the East Coast go to Florida, right? So I remember when I first got to the desert, I came out here for a vacation, right? My Uncle Chubby lived out here.
Uncle Chubby.
Uncle Chubby. His name was Chubby Bergamasco. How about that name? How about that handle?
Chubby Bergamasco.
Chubby Bergamasco. He was a lieutenant for the LA. He was a detective for LA, right? For years. He's living here in the desert, right? So I fell in love with the desert. So while I'm here, he says, I always like to play Riviera Country Club.
Huh.
I said, can you get me on Riviera Country Club? I said, yeah, I'll play Riviera. I'm a golfer.
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, anyway. So I go up to Riviera. I meet this actor. His name is Michael Dante. He lives out here in the desert.
Of course, I know Michael Dante.
Michael's very
good.
Yeah, right.
We do lunch over there. We used to do lunch with all the old guys.
Right.
This was before COVID yet, but I met him. Good guy.
So Michael says to me while I'm playing with him, he says, you want to play in the Frank Sinatra celebrity tournament?
Whoa.
I said, well, can you get me in that tournament? I'd love to play in that
So
tournament.
how old were you right then?
I would just turn 42. It was 20 years ago.
Okay,
I just turned 42.
So you just first days you're here.
First week. I'm not even here a week, right? I'm playing Riviera Country Club. So I go up to Riviera. We're playing golf. He said, I'll get you into Frank Sinatra, right? It's the middle of January. I go back, and I'm sorry, it's the middle of August. I go back to Pittsburgh. Middle of December, I get an invitation to play in the Frank Sinatra.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Well, how did you do in that tournament?
Well, let me tell you, you got to hear what happened to me, right? So I fly back out to California in January 15th. It's 18 degrees in Pittsburgh. It's 70 degrees in sunshine in Palm Desert.
How do you dress?
Right. So I said, I'm going to practice for a couple weeks, and then I'm going to play in this tournament, right? So the first day of the tournament is a pairings party where you got to go down and find out who your group is.
Yeah.
So I walk down to the bar, and who's there? Joe Montegna and Dennis Farina.
Holy moly. You talk about a couple of Italian heavyweights.
Right.
Man.
And I'm standing there at the bar, right? And Joe Montegna says, I said, Joe, I really appreciate your work. You do a great job. He says, I appreciate it. I introduced myself to him. He said, well, hang out here with us, right? I started hanging out with Joe Montegna, Dennis Farina. This is the pairings party, right? Next morning, I got a practice round. I go down the lobby, and who's sitting on the couch? Yogi Berra.
No kidding.
Right?
Holy moly.
Tony, it was crazy.
You gotta be kidding me.
It was crazy, Tom. So I go down, and I walk up to him. I said, Mr. Berra, I'm Robert Ardolino. I'm from Pittsburgh. Your son, Dale, played shortstop. I played baseball for Kansas City. I said, I just want to introduce myself. He said, sit down, kid. We'll have a drink.
I'll be darned.
So I'm sitting there with Yogi Berra, the first day of the tournament, right?
Yes.
Drinking Bloody Marys at 10 o'clock in the morning. Right?
So you must have been in no hurry to go back to Pittsburgh.
No.
That's for sure.
I wasn't going back to Pittsburgh. I just couldn't figure out how to stay here.
Yeah,
So that was the problem.
I hear you, man.
So I had to figure out how to stay here. So I play in the tournament. We go through the registration line. Who walks up? Lee Majors.
Jesus.
$6 million man. I got Lee Majors, Joe Montegna, Dennis Farina, Yogi Berra.
Holy
That's who I'm hanging out with the first day I'm in Palm Desert, right?
Like I said, you're in no hurry to get out of here, man.
No.
And 70 degrees.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Staying at the Esmeralda, right? So that was my first week experience in the desert.
I'll be darned.
And it goes crazier than that, past that. But
anyway. What a great story. Well, let's roll it back a little bit. Let's go back to your childhood,
to the
back in Pittsburgh, back in where you lived, and the people that you hung out with, and the people that I'm going to call it. What, he recruited you, maybe?
Well,
so what's going on?
Here's how the story goes. Okay, the story goes like this: I was just turning 15 years old, and my mother got a phone call. There was a guy in Pittsburgh, and this is on the internet. This is nothing, I can't talk about.
Yeah.
His name was Tony Grosso. Tony Grosso was the largest number writer in southwestern Pennsylvania. And his daughter was friends with my mother. And so his daughter calls up my mother and says, how would Rob like the busboy at the living room on Valentine's Day?
Okay.
So I said, yeah. I said, I'll busboy.
So why not?
Why not?
14 years old?
I was 14 years old.
Make some money, man.
Yeah, make some money, right? So I go up to the living room. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And I meet Paul Mongeluso. Paul Mongeluso was the head waiter and a maitre d'. And I said, I'm your busboy for tonight, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm dressed in a little black suit and a red tie, you know. So, and I'm 15 years old, right? So I made $325 in one night in tips.
Holy
as
Lord.
A busboy.
How many people were there?
The place was packed, right? It was called the Living Room in Pittsburgh, right? Tony owned it. His wife Angie ran it, and so I got to meet Tony, right? But all the characters that would come into the place were different guys that were associates of Tony's.
I'll be darned.
Right?
Yeah.
So they took a liking to me. So they offered me a job. So I was working at the living room when I was 16 years old till the time I was time to go to college.
So were you actually old enough to work there? Or?
Oh, yeah. Well, at 16. You were allowed to work at 16. The first year, no, I was illegal.
Yeah, okay.
But then when I turned 16, I got a work permit so I could go to work for a
So you're legit.
I was legit. Right. So then my job every Friday night was to go, remember the old payphones?
Yeah.
Years ago,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Where the telephone payphone before cellular phones, right? So Tony would have an extension in the back of the restaurant. And my job every Friday night was to go in 5 o'clock and put a dime and call this number. And all I had to say was, hold on, Tony wants to talk to you. And he would pick up the extension in the back, and that was a clean line.
I'll be darned.
They couldn't tap the line.
Oh, man. So this is what's going on in Pittsburgh as well as places that you figure the stuff was going on in Chicago and New York.
Well, yeah, Tony, I mean, he had a hell of a number business. I remember when I first went to his house, and he lived in Mount Lebanon, but his daughter lived in Upper St. Clair. And he hands me the keys, and he says, go start my car. And this is the middle of December.
Yeah.
So I go out there, I walk outside, and the car's already running. He had an automatic starter. He pushed a button, it would start his car automatically.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So I walk up, the car's running already.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, what are you doing?
He's laughing. He's standing in the door laughing.
Just messing with you.
He's messing with me, right? So I became good friends with Tony. And, sad story, he, whatever. They got caught in, scams in Pennsylvania. But I knew those guys growing up, I remember when I went to him, I said, Tony, I'm going to college. He said, what do you mean going to college? You got to work here.
What do you need that for?
We need that for you got to work. I said, no, Tony, I got a baseball scholarship. I'm going to college. He says, no, he says, you work here. I said, Tony, I got to go to college. I got a baseball scholarship. He said, okay, you go to college during the week, you work here on the weekends. I mean, it was just so funny of a story, right? He didn't want to lose you. He didn't want to lose me, right?
Well, he was grooming you.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what they were doing. They were grooming me. Yeah. And then I went to college. I ended up playing baseball at Point Park University for 4 years, and then Kansas City for 11 months. And then I couldn't play, couldn't hit a curveball.
Yeah,
and they let me go.
I think it's the best of us, man. Yeah. Believe me, I get it.
So I got out of that, and then I called a couple of buddies of mine up that were in the golf. They used to golf on the golf team in high school. I said, teach me this crazy game of golf. So I picked up a set of clubs when I was 27, and I started playing golf. And I was hooked ever since. And then when I found the desert, I was in golf heaven, right? I mean, that was 120 golf courses were out here when I moved out here.
Yeah.
And that's how the story went with golf. But I had an opportunity to play in the Sinatra. I played the last year in the Bob Hope. And that was a heck of an experience because I had the opportunity to play with Arnold Palmer in Pittsburgh because he was from Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And I was playing in the Bob Hope the last year. 2011 was the last year of the Bob Hope before it became the American Express and whatever.
Now.
Right. So then that was a great experience because I was able to I drew a celebrity flight in that event, and I had Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh, talk about names,
right? And I'm telling you, I'm playing golf with Sugar Ray, and he was a member of Riviera. It was a 16 handicap at Riviera, right?
Jesus.
So we get there, And then I played in this Irish Open every year with a good friend of mine, Tim Berry.
Tim Berry, yeah, we know Tim Berry.
So I've been playing in Tim Berry's outing for 20 some years.
Wow.
At that point.
Still running around with the knickers?
Oh yeah, I got 20 pairs of knickers. I played in that outing, right? So I paid for every set of knickers I have. But the 1 year I was fortunate. Well, I got to meet Elkie Summer and her husband Wolf. I got to play with them, and then the big year was Rich Little, who shows up.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And Rich Little wants to play with me. He says, I want to play with the guy that won it last year. Well, Elkie and I won it, right? And Elkie got upset. She says, well, what about Robert? I want to play with Robert. Well, Rich Little, he won out.
Yeah.
So I was with Steve Rossi from Martin and Rossi, the old comedy team.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I got Steve Rossi and Rich Little in my foursome. So I get to the first tee, and there's Rich Little and Steve in the cart. And I said, can you play golf? Rich says, no. I said, can you putt? I said, if you can putt,
do anything.
Can you putt? He says, I can putt. For the whole 18 holes, right? All they did was write comedy jokes. So finally on the 9th hole, I went up to him. I said, Mr. Carson, are you going to play today or not? And he breaks into Johnny Carson. The guy did 200 and some voices.
I'll be darned.
In his career. It was phenomenal, right? But just to be friends with him, we became good friends after that. I went to see a show at the Tropicana in Vegas. And so I've had some interesting golf experiences out here.
Well, how many people have you run across over the years? Unbelievable. Oh, man.
The first year I played I was with Jerry Vale. Jerry Vale, when I get on the first tee, there's Jerry Vale and Michael Dante. And I said, Mr. Vale, I says, your songs are phenomenal. Adila alone, right? I grew up with Adila, right? Well,
we all did.
And he said, Robert, I'll tell you the story on that. They asked me to write that song. I said, how much did they pay you for that? He said, $50.
Oh, geez.
$50 for Adila.
Unbelievable.
And he says, and I said, how much did you make after that? He said, well, that was my career, when he sang Adila. And but they paid him $50 to write that song.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now, talking about celebrities, I remember the first time I met you was actually at the clubhouse, at the club where you generally play.
Yeah, Desert
Island. And I walked up and I told everybody, hey, who's that Dean Martin lookalike guy? So does that happen often? Or is it just me?
That's another story.
Let's hear it.
So my wife and I are in Las Vegas, and we're going to go see Deana Martin show, right? And my wife and I walk into the South Point Casino in Las Vegas. And I said, honey, I'm going to go get a drink. She said, well, I'm going to the slot machine. Because she's a little bit of a slot, so I got to keep an eye on her. So I said,
you got to keep an eye on her.
So anyway, she loves the slot machines, my wife. So I walk through and there's this restaurant, a fish restaurant, and who's sitting to the right of me? Deana Martin.
I'll be darned.
And her husband, John.
Yeah.
Right. So I order a beer, right? And I didn't want to bother her because I was there to see her show. And I just couldn't help myself.
How do you end up in these situations?
I know it's crazy, Tony. I'm telling you. And I'm texting Donna. Where are you? Because Deana Martin's right next to me.
Yeah,
right.
So, get over here.
Yeah, get over here, right? So I got up. I got enough courage. I said, I walk over. I said, Deana, I said, I'm a big fan of your father's. She said, you could be my brother. I said, yeah. She said, sit down here. So I sat down with her and her husband, John, and Rosario, her assistant, right? Yeah. So we're sitting there bullshitting, having lunch. And I said, I'm here to see your show and everything. So at the end of the show, we see the show that next night. And they had the photo ops and stuff like that. Well, she had 6 of the original gold diggers there.
Oh, wow.
The original gold diggers, right? That worked with Dean.
Yeah.
And I have pictures and all kind of memories there. And she says, you want me to sign my book? I said, yeah, I read your book. Yeah. I said, but sign this copy, please. So she signed it for me. And so I got to meet Deana. But yeah, I get that a lot.
That's what I thought you were. I mean, the first time I met you, man, I go, who's this guy? And actually, I thought you were an actor. Okay, yeah, the first time I met you for that reason.
No, yeah.
Anyway,
no, I didn't want to study. You got to study to be an actor.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, right. I didn't want to take the time to study, so I didn't want to be an actor. But anyway. So
anyway, talk about acting, man. So that's when we really kind of hooked up.
so here's the story. So this is a great story. So I go to Bernie's restaurant one night. Donna was with her girlfriends, and I got out for a drink, and I'm standing at the bar, and a friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Mike.
Yeah.
I know Mike, right? He says, you got to meet these guys. They're coming here. So our illustrious director, Sonny, walks in, right? And Nikki DeVito.
Yeah.
And then you come in, right? And I'm standing at the bar, and Sonny and I are talking, and he says, where are you from? I said, I'm from Pittsburgh. He says, well, I'm from Philadelphia. So I said, that's an easy fit. So we start bullshitting. I said, what do you do? He tell me what he did and this and that. He says, I'm working on a sitcom called Mark's Place. I said, okay. He said, I got a part for you. I'm going to write you. This is pre-COVID now.
Yeah.
This is right before COVID, right? So he says, I'm going to write a part for you. I said, whatever, son. I said, I'm really not an actor. I said, but okay, you want to write something, write something. So about a couple of weeks later, I get an email from Sonny, and there's a script. Right? he wrote me in as Pittsburgh Bobby. Right. So now I print it off. I show it to my wife. She says, you don't have to act. You just got to be you.
That's it. That's all you have to do.
That's all you do.
Perfect.
Just be you, and this part will come off good. So I called up Sonny. I said, okay, son, I'll do it.
Right.
And let's get it. And that's when we all met.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can still see you walking in through the door as Pittsburgh Bobby, make your way to the bar, sit down at the end of the bar. And what happened when you sat at the end of the bar? What took place?
We got into an argument, me and Mark Lantero. We went at it.
I know you guys did, man.
Right? And you know, it's really true. When I showed the script to Donna, she says, you don't even have to act.
Exactly.
Just be you.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was for sure.
So.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, man. And when we shot out there at Al DeMora's place, when we all got kidnapped, and you and the mayor show up, and you guys surprise us, and guns start flying, and people start running, bullets are flying all over the place.
Well, you know, the nice thing about Mark's Place, it was set as a relocation of a witness protection program. It's a great backstory.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's a great backstory.
You know, the funny part about that scene is, I always struggle with my lines. Okay,
right.
And so I became the great ad-libber. So that's how I made my fame as a great ad-libber. But that particular day, I had to have my lines down. So I was wearing a sports coat, and I had the script folded in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And then when we did the scene where the FBI came in and you guys all had to drop your guns, we ran off. I'm running. You can see the script in my back pocket.
Your back pocket. and Al, remember we had two guys playing Al?
Yeah.
We didn't know which one. Sonny didn't know which one he wanted to use, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Al ended up working out good.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, from what I understand, and I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that helped him get a part in another movie playing a similar character.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he had to go to Vegas and shoot it. I'm not sure if it's the production is done or what the story is.
Well, he was a great host, though.
Yeah, well,
he hosted. Yeah. He opened up his home and everything to us. We
had a great time.
We had
a good time. So we had some good times on Mark's Place. But now it brings us to Hopalong Stugots. All right. So here we are. Dino, the bartender, the friggin' traitor, man.
The traitor.
Jesus, man.
Well, so now let's talk about Sonny again, because he calls me with these crazy.
Excuse me, guys. We have a special call coming.
Really? Who's this? Hey.
This is
Christy.
Hey.
How are you? Our production manager.
I'm doing fine. I'm ready, getting dressed to go to the Jazz Grooves at the Revolution, that new place where Zelda used to be.
That's downtown Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, that's where Ruth does all the jazz. And Hope Diamond's going to be there. The piano guy, Eddie Tobin, and Tim, was it Pleasant, and Bill Sata, and Kenyon.
That's a lineup.
Carlay, and the trumpet player, Joe Granson, over there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun night.
It's going to be great. And who's putting on? That's Ruth's production, right? Ruth Ruiz?
Yes. Right. I help her out with all the flyers and everything. So that's going on tonight, because we're leaving in a half hour. So we're doing that. And then also Friday, I want to tell people, too, that Woody Redshow was going to be at Babalou's. He's going to be at Babalou's from 7 to 11. So if anybody's not doing anything, 7 to 11 at Babalou's. It's the St. Wood Band So
Yes.
they're gonna be out there, and they play all the 50s, 60s, 70s, all the rock and roll music over there. So that's another thing to go on Friday night. And we have Saturday, the Dreamboat, 7 o'clock over there. The doors open at Cap City over there at Agua Caliente.
Really?
If anybody hasn't seen the Dreamboat, they got to go see the Dreamboat.
And that's is that that outdoor? Is that at that outdoor?
You know what? I don't know if it's outdoors or indoors, but it probably will be indoors. It's a free concert.
Yeah, those kids they're talented.
Yeah, they're good.
I've seen them. They're
Put
very
that
talented.
on the calendar on that also, and then of course we have Maximo on the 7th over there at Chef George. 5:30 to 7 is dinner, and the thing is a 3-course meal, $45, and then the show, the coverage charge is $25 up until 9 o'clock.
So I have a question in regards to that. Well, people will ask me. So if you pay $25 to get in, is it mandatory to pay or to have the 3-course meal for $45?
You know what? I don't know about the 3-course meal, but you probably have to get an entree or something.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was curious about that because people have asked me. Because some people, they just want to go and pay the $25 and see the. But I can understand that, for Chef George's sake, it would be nice if people go and pay the $25 and the $45 per person, which you're going to get a great meal as well.
Right.
So
right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what's going on. This weekend coming up this week and everything, and then there's a lot of other stuff that I guess I'm going to be talking about. Right, Sunny Saturday.
Right. Saturday when the time comes, we'll have you on again. So look thanks very much for the update. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon. Enjoy the concert and have a great time. Okay.
All right. Talk to you later.
We'll see you. Bye bye.
Thanks, bye.
Anyway, you talk about the Energizer Bunny. This one.
Well,
my God, man.
We love her.
We got to do this. We got to go there. We got to come here.
I know. I love her. When I first met her and her husband Tony.
Yeah.
Fabulous people.
Yeah,
they're great people.
Hey, look, we're a group of Italians. We all love each other. We all get along.
We're fortunate. We're fortunate.
We really are.
We connected out here. Like I said, when I first met Sonny and he told me he was from Philly and stuff, and I don't have that connection out here.
Yeah.
I mean, most guys from the East Coast go to Florida.
Well,
and I was fortunate to come to California, but not too many people from the.
Well, most of my family's in Detroit, and that's where they go. They go to Florida,
right?
Right. I mean, we migrated here years ago because my dad wanted to get out of the construction business in Detroit and moved to California for warmer weather.
Right.
And then he went into Italian grocery business,
right.
And that's where I ended up in that industry as well over the years. So anyway, before we close out, want to hit a little bit on Hopalong Stugots.
Yeah.
So that's our latest production. You're playing Dino, the bartender.
Right.
And you
I'm a little bit of a backstabber.
Yeah, you're a little bit of a problem for the mayor.
For the mayor, right. Yeah. We got more problems for you. Well, how about
you got more problems?
We got more problems for you, Tom. We just haven't shown them yet. We're going to show them. Don't worry.
Well,
these are going to be some issues. But we set you up pretty good.
Yeah, well, you already did once. Yeah, dragging me around.
Yeah, and
throwing flour in my nose.
Well, how about where we filmed?
Oh my God!
We filmed at a nudist colony in Palm Springs, right? And I said to the owner, the manager, I said, "How long has this place been here?" He said, "Oh, we've been here 30-some years." I said, "So is there a day rate?" He says, "Yeah, you can come hang out here in the day for $90."
Well, it was really kind. It was really kind of them to allow us to use the facility.
No, it really was. They were wonderful people. I appreciate their. Yeah. I really do.
Our friend, actually, Molly Malloy knows the owner, and they got us in there. Yeah. And when they first threw that idea, I go, "We're doing it where?" Hey, the guy's offering it up, and we offered him a part as the manager of the hotel, right. And we don't have to pay anything.
No,
again,
right.
Look, free is good, right?
I know.
So we go the day to shoot. I go, good. We're going to shoot on a weekday. That way, if there's nudists running around, it might be just one, maybe here or there.
One or two. Right.
We'll go this way. When they go that way, and they go that, we go this way.
Right.
Well, it turns out didn't work out that way.
How about when we're in the middle of the shot, and the guy comes running out of his room? He don't know that we're filming a sitcom. And he comes out, and his wife is sitting behind me, right?
Oh yeah,
right. And he runs right in the shot, butt naked.
But you know the best part about it is we're over here. We're trying to act like No big deal. And these guys just walking back like normal. Everything's cool. And then when we left that day, what did they tell us? Hey, guys, come back anytime and welcome anytime.
Wait a minute. They loved us.
Of course they did.
They told us again. How about I walked out with the key?
And you left with a key. Yeah.
I had the key to room 111, and all of a sudden I got the key in my pocket. I forgot I had it in my pocket.
Thanks to you, we had to sit there and watch more of the scenery.
I know.
Okay?
So I'm halfway down the road. Sonny calls me. He says, "You got the key to the room." I said, "Oh shit."
So anyway, hey, listen, folks. You know what? We've had a great time. All right,
Tony, thank you.
You know, Robert, thank you so much. I really appreciate our friendship. It means a lot to me. And what? Stretch
Chewing
it up.
gum. Chewing gum.
Oh, this is a funny story.
Here we go.
So I have acted the day of my life, right? So Sonny gets me to the restaurant, and he's watching me say these lines.
Yeah. No, this was for
Mark's place, right?
Right.
For Mark's place. So Sonny looks at me. He says, "We got to fix this." So he says, "No, Sonny's looking at me. He says, you're good." He says, "But you're not deliveries right." So he says, "Anybody got any gum?" So one of the girls had gum. So he said, "Robert, chew this gum and say the line at the same time." And so I'm chewing the gum and I'm saying the line. And Sonny says, "That's it.
Perfect.
You got to have the gum."
Gum in the mouth.
Right. So gum in the mouth, right? So,
whatever.
So, he's a director. I don't know, right? So it came off good, right? So then Hopalong Stats comes along.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I can't use the same gum.
Yeah.
So I went to a toothpick. So I show up on his first set, the first day they're filming, and Sonny says, "What's with the toothpick?" I said, "Well, I can't do gum in the same thing." He says, "Okay, let's try the toothpick." And the toothpick worked that good. So he's my acting coach.
Yeah, well, he's acting coach. He's also
acting coach. And he said, "You got to always have the gum or the toothpick."
Toothpick. Okay. Here we are. You know what? I mean, we had a great show and we're ready to close it. All of a sudden, he comes in. No, don't talk about the blood.
People want to call. They want to talk to us, though.
Hey, by the way, we have another caller.
We have another caller, huh? And who would this be?
Jimmy, are you there?
Hey, what are you doing? Where are you? Some cruise ship somewhere?
Is that Jimmy the Vale?
Yeah.
Were you in Egypt or in Russia or maybe in China or somewhere? Where are you?
No, I'm in my home. I just got back from Amsterdam. I just performed in Amsterdam, Brussels.
So how did that go?
Fucking in Germany, and I don't want to go back to Germany. I'm just saying.
I hear you, and leave the F-bombs there too. Okay? We don't need them on this show today.
You can leave them in Germany, Jimmy.
We need your clean show. Okay? So tell me honestly, what was it like? I mean, anybody? What language you do your show in?
I just did the show, and the show was in Dutch. It was crazy. I got there, and I kept emailing the guy, and I said, "Hey, is the show in Dutch? Because it says online it's in Dutch." And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "It's in Dutch." He goes, "Don't worry." He goes, "You're going to be great." He goes, "They all speak English." So my opening line, I couldn't. The owner loved it. He said it was brilliant. I go, "Look, I'll tell you guys right away. I don't speak Dutch."
But I go Dutch.
I go, "I'm Italian. I don't do Dutch." Right? I said, all I know is that being out here, I learned how to get through hanging out with Dutch people, and everybody loves me because I learned 5 words. Very simple. If you want to come to the Netherlands, Holland, Amsterdam, all you got to know is these 5 words. Very closely listen. And I go, first word, hello. They laugh, right? Because they say, hello. Well, it's like hello. And I go, these last
Really?
4 words, you must be very detailed. If you don't pronounce them correctly, they will not understand you, and they'll just look at you like a deer in headlights. And I go, the last 4 words after hello is, do you speak English? and then I had him from there, and then the guy he ended up shooting the comedy special with me. I didn't even know. Shot a 4-camera comedy special. It was amazing. And wants me to go back in April. And I told him I'm so booked. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do.
Well, it sounds like one heck of experience, man.
Where's it going to be?
Where are you going to be, Jimmy?
You got anything going on here locally in the near future?
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. So January is out of Long Beach on the Carnival Radiant.
Yeah,
that day, I get off this ship at 6 in the morning, and I drive, and I pick up the wife, and then January 12th and 13th, the same day, I do 2 shows a night, 7 p.m. and 9:30 at January 12th and 13th, 7 p.m. and 9:30 at the Pechanga Casino, the biggest casino in all of California, in Temecula, California.
You ever been there?
Oh, yeah. Was there recently, actually.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Jimmy.
I stayed there actually recently.
Yeah. I played golf with the golf course.
So you can get lost in that place, man.
I know.
Yeah, you got to take an Uber to get around in there.
I know.
Well, anyway, Jimmy, hey, thanks for calling, man. I hope that all the folks heard what you have to.
Congrats on the new podcast.
Hey, we're gonna have some fun with it. In fact, in the near future, we're gonna have you on live. Okay.
Sounds great, man. Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
I hope to see you at the show. If people come, go to funnyjimmy.com for tour dates. I'll see you guys. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, Jimmy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, this guy's a character. Man.
He's great. He's a talent.
I'll tell you what. I saw him at Agua Caliente.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, one guy one side of the room, the other guy on the other side of the room. We're gonna come and knock him out. It was this.
No.
I'm gonna call this dirty show. Okay?
Oh no, I know. No, he's a talented guy.
Anyway.
Professional.
So hey, Sonny, what do you think, man?
I think everything looks good.
All right, so we did a great job, Robert. Thanks,
Tony,
man.
Thank you
Appreciate
for having
it.
me. I appreciate it.
All right, it was a lot of fun.
Good luck. I wish you well.
Well, we're gonna have a great time. Hey, folks, until next time. Ciao.
Hold on.